Oh god, here we go again. Another mediocre Zac Efron comedy that I'm gonna have to watch only to get my heart ripped out at the realization of his once again wasted talent. And sure, I've sat through this kind of movie plenty before, but I knew this one was gonna hurt, especially coming off the excellence of the Iron Claw, which brought me to tears. It's like, dude, Mr. Efron, you are the man. Whether it's the comedic subversive depth that he brought to the frat boy archetype in Neighbours, the solidly devastating turn in the Iron Claw, or even the show-stealing cameo in The Disaster Artist, you have got the sauce. You do not need to be starring in movies that just reek of critical and commercial failure. Yeah, here we are again. This one's called Ricky Stanicky, and is about a group of friends who never grew out of their frat boy days. When they were only little boys, they created a fake friend by the name of, you guessed it, Ricky Stanicky, who they continue to use as a scapegoat for their crimes, or even as an excuse to get out of a baby shower because they want to go to a concert. But soon enough, the lies begin to catch up with them, and people start thinking maybe this Ricky Stanicky guy isn't real, as if the name was enough to give it away. So they gotta hire an actor, played by Cena, to pretend to be the real Ricky Stanicky. And then... Yep, that's it. When I first heard the synopsis for this movie, I remember going down a rabbit hole of ideas and thinking to myself, damn, this could actually be interesting. I mean, my mind's already going to a lot of places. Maybe the cops will be chasing them down for a crime they committed and they'll have to blame it on Ricky. But then all the clues from the past will start screwing them over. Maybe they'll even have to retrace their footsteps and hide all the evidence that they were the ones who committed the crimes. But then, how are they gonna get Cena to play along with all of this? That's a pretty interesting, funny question to ask, and no, in fact, the crimes mentioned in the synopsis are barely in the movie. And all we get is a bunch of man-children who use this character to get out of familial commitments so they can hit up the club. It's the kind of movie that feels like it was crafted entirely to read well as an IMDb synopsis, with no consideration whatsoever going into how such a concept could be utilized for its maximum comedic potential. Then again, it's a comedy. No one goes into an R-rated Zac Efron frat boy comedy expecting an Alfred Hitchcock level plot. All that matters is that we have a good time, we have a smile put on our face, and we have some great laughs. And on that front, it does pretty badly, actually. Though the premise is initially amusing, with Efron and Cena being charming enough to coax a few laughs out of me, a lot of the jokes in this movie are off-putting and low effort to the point of being insulting. When Cena yells, "horny to be with you tonight," get it? Instead of "happy to be with you tonight," the movie expects you to laugh, but instead you're just reminded of the shocked kid in your class who thought that shouting the name of any genital was egg. Like most comedies, the movie attempts to tack on some depth as an afterthought, meditating on and criticizing the lead characters for refusing to grow out of their childish ways. Yet it does so while basking in every bit of the crass, juvenile abundance its characters do. Though Cena and Efron do a good job elevating the script, the rest of the supporting cast, which includes names such as Jermaine Fowler, Andrew Santino, and William H. Macy, are just as uninspired and forgettable as the juvenile characters they embody. In all honesty, director Peter Farrelly is too in love with them to find any genuine worth in criticizing them, giving the viewer the impression that he himself has failed to grow out of his own childish ways, while using this movie as his own Ricky Stanicky type deceit to convince you, and maybe even his family, that he has. Last week, we talked about Doom Part 2. The movie was such exceptional sound design and VFX that it feels like it was handcrafted specifically to showcase the power of cinema and what the big screen can accomplish. With that in mind, it's poetic that only a few days after, we get Ricky Stanicky, a movie that feels like it was made for the small screen. Not because watching it on the small screen lends it a sense of intimacy that elevates it, but because this movie essentially functions as streaming propaganda, with cinematography so flat and uninspired, a score that has the same flavor and presence as that of elevator music, that it feels like it was created by Amazon so that Jeff Bezos could point to it and say, "See, why would you go to the big screen for this? There's nothing about this that could be elevated by the cinemas. Just stay in and watch it at home." Yeah, he would be wrong. Cause while not even the biggest screen in the world with the most pitch clear sound system could redeem this movie, it is also so incredibly rare to find a movie so uninspired to the point where it's hard to even imagine an actual human being was behind the camera giving directions to other human beings. It's pretty clear by now that you can take the boy out of the frat, but you can't take the frat out of the boy. With the release of the Iron Claw, I became inspired by the notion that once again, for real this time, we were ushering in a new era for Zac Efron. The Efronescence, you could call it. But once again, I felt the same disappointment I felt seeing Efron star in the critically panned The Greatest Fear Run ever, after having delivered a fantastic performance as Ted Bundy in Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil and Violent. But I think at this point, I need to make peace with this realization that Efron has about the same forward momentum in his acting career as a man walking backwards on an upwards escalator. And though he will continue to have his moments of brilliance, his heart will always belong with frat boy comedies. Hey, on the plus side, the dude loves to hang around and shoot movies in Australia, which gives me a higher than 0 chance of bumping into the guy. And hey, John Cena is pretty damn good in this, so there's that. And he carries this movie to a 4 out of 10. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe. And though I highly doubt more than 2 people have watched this movie, if you have, let us know what you thought in the comments below. And if you thought this video was at the very least better than the movie I'm reviewing, please give us a like and subscribe. I'm Cena, and I'll see you next time.